Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, March 21st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I want to first personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you're liking what you see and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can be used and how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on. So definitely get signed up for the class if you're liking what you see. A couple of quick clarification points. Number one, the market is still open for a little bit, so that price there will still be moving. These candlesticks will still be moving around, but I like to do these videos when the market's still open for a little bit because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day action. And then also I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So what that means if you're a beginner is that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, MULN. Been tracking this one very routinely, I think all week long, although during this period it got a little sketchy. Wasn't quite sure, okay, is it over? But as I, talked about in a few videos ago, the bull pattern never broke. And then, everything else, kind of the back half of the week here is showing the big technical power of that breakout. And some updates definitely need to be made. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line as it served its purpose for now and make this update right here, which is just based on a foundational rule in charting here at 265. And this rule states that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And ideally, that's the level you want to see hold. I say ideally because from the big picture of things, it's not like that's some sort of do or die level. Now, if the price holds above there, that's certainly going to make the chart look the best. But again, not a do or die level because from the big picture point of view, as long as the price continues to stay above that purple line, the 50-period moving average, keyword being moving, so as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself is moving higher and higher, then overall the trend is fully in the bull's favor. So keep an eye on those couple areas from the support side of things. In terms of resistance, nothing complicated here. Price got rejected up there at $3.20 a couple of times, so that'll be the main battleground going into next week. But overall, the uptrend continues. Next one, DIDI. What an absolute monster move today. And talked about, several days ago how this one was just too well known of a stock and how all it was going to take is just a spark of good news and, a quality bounce was going to happen. And that is what we're witnessing right now. And updates once again need to be made. So last time I did this, talked about the red line being the area of resistance. And you can see earlier on in the day, that area of resistance was broken. And I mean, that was basically the rocket ship point as the price took off from there. But let's get some new of the more so relevant levels now taken care of. So as far as supports are concerned, two main levels. First one, and going back to the, along the lines that I just talked about, the ideal level would be right here at $3.70. Once again, not a do or die level, not like if the price breaks below there, everything's completely destroyed. But yeah, certainly if the price can stay above 370, that would be the best case scenario. And then after that, you have that pink line down there, which is the 200-period moving average valued at $3.30. So keep an eye on that as another area of support. But what about areas of resistance, the fun stuff? Well, we're going to have to squeeze things down here, which is a good problem to have when you have to go back this far into the chart's history, because that just illustrates that it's been quite a while since the price has been up this high. But the next key level to watch very closely moving forward, going to be right up there at $4.40. Going back through the history of things, you can see this area provided some resistance previously. So it doesn't mean that the price can't push through it, just that, that seems to be a potential area where there could be some problems. But all in all, what a powerful way to close out the week. Next one, NIO, and this will mean a tad bit more of those of you that watched the previous video, but if you did, I talked about how going into today, the big question was, okay, the price was right at that pink line, the 200-period moving average, but it's a question of, can the price break through it? That was the big dynamic, and we got our answer during the opening 30 minutes. Price broke through it, and then opening 30 minutes, big solid green candle right there, and just continue to grind higher and higher. So now, full-blown breakout. It's gotten back above the purple line, the 50-period. It's gotten up above the pink line, the 200-period. So, I mean, the trend is definitely building steam. And while there's still a lot more work that needs to be done, obviously, there's no doubt about it. This bounce has definitely got things moving in the right direction. And, as long as going back to the first stock, quote unquote, the right direction, as long as the price stays above that purple line, again, moving average, meaning that line's going to move higher and higher. So as long as the price is above the purple line, then in my opinion, at least, you have to say that the bulls are in control of the chart right now. So, because it's easy to say, oh, hey, the bulls are in control, but that brings up a logical question. Yeah, but so at what point do they not become in control? And that's why I love charts, because they allow you to take questions like that and make them very visual. And again, my answer to that question, visually speaking, would be that 50-period moving average. As far as areas of resistance, Next key battleground to watch very closely moving forward. Going to be right up there at the $22 mark, so keep a close eye on that. But all in all, no doubt about it, the bulls seem to be getting back in control, so watch that 50 period moving average. Next one, VEON, another one that I did recently, yesterday. And you can see right there, got the break up through there. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines because what I like about this one is how there's just a very nice defined pattern. And I like nice defined patterns because that means a lot of other people have seen it. And lots of other people have seen the same thing or wondering the same thing. Call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very nice movements. Now, there are no guaranteed movements, of course, but it becomes very plausible to think that, yeah, there could be a nice movement. And I think the level that most people are going to be watching is that trend line right there, because I don't want to come across like that was some sort of complicated trend line to draw. I'm assuming a bunch of people have drawn that trend line. So once again, while nothing is guaranteed, more than valid to think that if the price can come up to that area and break up through it, that break right there could very well create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So in my mind, that's what it's all about for VEON next week. All about that trend line. Let's see if the price can get up to it, break above it, and then continue on with the overall uptrend. Next one here, PIK, and I put this one strategically here because same exact premise. You have this line right here, which I think a lot of people have drawn. That trend line right there. And you have yourself a nice little bullish pattern within a very strong overall upward movement. I mean, you consider that, a couple of days ago, this thing was down to basically $2. Now this thing is, constantly up above $6. Very impressive movement. So you know that a bunch of eyeballs are watching it. So what level do I think a lot of eyeballs are watching? Well, I think a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. So again, same exact premise, no guarantees, but it's definitely plausible to think that if the price can get up to that trend line and then break up through it, that break right there could very well create some good additional upside momentum. Next one here, AMC, and in my mind, it's all about this 1565 mark because you can see that the price is just struggling with it. Not struggling with it in the sense of getting above it, because yes, today on multiple occasions the price got up above 1565. But in terms of building and sustaining any kind of upwards momentum, that's been the problem. Right here, got above it, fell back below it. Right there, got slightly above it, fell back below it. Right there, got above it, and now it's just kind of chopping around right here. So that's really the big question mark moving forward in my mind is, can the price finally get a true break of 1565? Now that brings up the question, okay, Clay, well, how are you defining a true break? And thanks for asking. Right there, that pink line, the 200 period moving average, which I would define as, truly finally getting above 1565 is if the price can get up to that level and break above it and stay above it. So let's just call it $16. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. 1565, not a problem, again, in the sense of not allowing the price to get above it, but just it's kind of like a momentum buzzkill. It will not allow any sort of momentum to get built or sustained right now, but we'll have to see if that changes next week. Next one here, KODK, and really the first reason for putting this on here, don't get me wrong, the volume is great, the price is great, but this one, depending on how long you've been in the markets, has some history to it of making absolutely crazy moves. So we'll see if something like that can happen again. I mean, it was a great move here, but this is more so based on the fact of, could this be the start of something bigger? Right? Yes, the volume down here is great. Very impressive price movement. But again, when you understand, and you can look back on the history of things, this thing has made a monster move, which brings about, like I said, a very valid question. Now, to be fair, maybe it's not the start of anything bigger, but that's the idea of a watch list, is finding unique situations and then watching them, observing them. So that's why risk management matters, because again, it's a two-sided coin. To be fair, maybe this isn't. Maybe this thing just drifts back into oblivion. Completely possible. But again, two-sided coin. It is also possible that maybe this is the start of something much bigger, and later on next week, we're going to be looking back and saying, hey, geez, remember when, KODK was down below $10? You never know. But the point here is for a watch list, identifying unique situations. I would consider this very unique. So let's watch it and see how it plays out next week. Next one, SNDL, and I don't know why I'm just now doing this. I figured I would have seen it a little bit sooner because SNDL is, I'll go ahead and call it a cult stock. There are lots of people out there that are interested in it. Some of them, dare I say, are maybe stuck in it. But point here being is, usually I'm a little bit better at keeping an eye on these things, but especially when nice uptrends like this are going. I mean, there is no doubt about it. However you want to look at this, you have a nice trend line right there, or, let's just even get rid of the trend line because I've already talked about this a couple of times. So just use the purple line, right? You know what I'm going to say next. Say that's a purple line. It's going to move. It's going to move higher. So moral of the story here is there's no doubt about it. This is a very nice looking uptrend. And as long as the price stays above that purple line, then in my opinion, at least, it remains a nice uptrend. So that's really the easiest way to gauge the current movement right here. Because yeah, got to give credit where credit's due. Very, very nice movement over the past few days. And it'll remain nice as long as, like I said, price stays above that purple line. As far as next potential battlegrounds are concerned, Key level right now seems to be right up there at that 54-cent mark. Yeah, which makes sense. Generally speaking, you can see rejected the price, and then today rejected the price. So 54 cents will be public enemy number one next week. But all in all, very, very nice little trend that's being built. Next one, SOFI, and as I alluded to, previously, very popular stock. It was getting beat down so fast, so hard, that all it's going to take is just a glimmer of halfway decent news, and you had to think that this thing was going to make a nice bounce, and here we are. And now it's just a question of, okay, is this bounce going to potentially turn into some sort of bigger reversal? That remains to be seen, but it's certainly headed in the right direction. So as far as supports are concerned moving forward, that ideal level, again, that level that what would make the chart look the best moving forward would be if the price can stay up there above $9.50. But again, just from an overall trend perspective, watch that purple line. I won't say anything more in regards to that because you understand. In terms of areas of resistance, looking like the next key battleground, going to be right here. Did the price already break above it? I can't tell. Nope, not quite. Right there at about $10.15. You can see that this was the top part of this previous channel over here. So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that. But no doubt about it, great movement. So now it just becomes the question of, can this trend build upon itself next week? If it can, well then watch that level right there and see if potential breakout is underway. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and a very nice day on this one once again. So let me get rid of that line, which brings us to our first update for those of you that watched yesterday's video. Right up here about 890, talked about being an area of resistance, and you can see the price broke up through it early on in the day right there. And then, as I noted in the past couple other charts, when levels of resistance are broken, you want to see them act as support. And perfect example on the power of charts. Isn't that pretty cool? How price broke above that level and then just bounced off it, came back down, bounced off it. So once more, ideally speaking, moving forward, $890 is going to be that level of support that you want to see hold. And then, yes, you have that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. But let's talk resistance levels, because I think this is the more fascinating thing, because this has been a very, very impressive move. So where are some of these next potential areas that could provide some problems, and that I think a lot of people will be watching, so we can bring about, that whole argument of self-fulfilling prophecies. And in my mind, it's right up there at about, what is that, 900? Yeah, 900, let's just call it $30 right there. You can see that it was the top part of that little miniature bounce right there, and then more so the top part of this channel that lasted a few days right there. So still some room to go, but you could make the argument that, yeah, so maybe Tesla's got quite a bit of room left for this grind to continue before its next big challenge. But overall, anyway, look at it, Tesla definitely had a very strong week, so let's see if it carries into next week. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and certainly should be used to build consistency as a trader, then get signed up for the class next week. Like I said, it'll be Thursday, March 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these, then do two things for me, please. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment below. Those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, then I will continue to put them together. So hitting that like button, leaving a simple comment, even if it's just saying hi, tell me a ticker symbol that you traded today that you're watching next week. But those two things go a long way. So everybody take care, have a good weekend, and definitely get signed up for the class, and I'll see you next Thursday.